So, all right. Well, welcome to Wapiti Live Q&A for July 6th, 2022. We do actually have some new members. Doesn't look like they're tuned in yet, but if you're watching this on the replay for future ones, when you do attend live, well, guess what? This one's Zoom. We can actually just communicate back and forth. You don't have to do anything. There's no comment sections or this or that. But in the Zoom, there actually is a chat over on the right-hand side if you do want to go that route as well. So, all right, so tonight we are going to break down the inviting cow routine. And as soon as Jim popped in, I said, Jim, I pretty much figured you'd be on this one. So, because we're dissecting the routine that he's probably going to hit this year with his cow tag. So,
yeah, just do that.
So the inviting cow routine is really what it is. It's a routine that you are a lost cow. You are separated, from the herd. And the reason I call it inviting cow routine instead of just a lost cow, because you say lost cow and somebody thinks of that one sound, the lost mew. But the reason I call it the inviting cow routine is every sound that's pretty much in this is an inviting sound, meaning it's inviting a response. It's inviting an answer. It's inviting an elk to come to you. So basically there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of urgency to it. And it is a routine that you can get a lot of emotion in and have a lot of fun with it. So, and those inviting sounds are your assembly mew that's basically asking a single elk come to me. It's the lost mew that is asking, where are you? Give me a response. The regathering mew, which is asking all elk around you to come to you and gather up. So, oh, look at that. Larry's playing with the chat. This is going to be a very valuable program. Perfect. Thank you, sir. So, and actually here, I don't know if you guys do this, but you can do these little emotions that pop up in the corner of your screen. You can applaud, you can laugh. So it's down on the bottom menu. So there's reactions. I don't know if you guys have it. I even have a whiteboard too that I can actually draw on all kinds of stuff. So you guys don't have that? Okay. No. All right. So let's do this. Let's break down these sounds individually. So the lost mew. So the lost mew, as we know, focuses on the high note because the high note carries, it does have good pressure with the diaphragm. So remember the basic mew. So now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on that high note. We're going to really press on our diaphragm and we're going to put a lot of emphasis on that high note. We don't really drop our tongue off. We don't really bring it into the bottom register. We want to focus on that high note alone on that lost mew. And like I said, you can get a lot of emotion in it. You can string a bunch of them together and just to give kind of a little more urgency. Next up, assembly mew. So the assembly mew, again, is asking for a single elk to come to you. A lot of times it's in a cow-calf relationship. But you will also have a bull that will hit you with an assembly mew asking you to come to him if you're doing cow sounds. So where the lost mew focuses on the high, the assembly, we're going to focus on the low. We're basically doing same thing we're doing on the basic mew, except as soon as we get that high note, we're dropping our tongue down and we're drawing out that lower note. Now, if you remember when we talked about cow sounds and we talked about the assembly mew is one of those sounds that cows will do 90% of the time with their mouth closed. So it's a very, very soft call. But this is how you can build emotion in this routine is you can start with your mouth partially closed. And really soften that sound up. Then as you want to gain emotion or ramp it up a little bit, open up your mouth and go volume. Did that perk you up a little bit? I guess I woke somebody up. So, all right. Regathering mew. So, regathering mew is a long, drawn out mew that has a wave on the high note. And the regathering mew is one of those ones that, again, is asking all the elk around you, come to me, regather, let's join in one place. And it's really controlled with your diaphragm pressure. It's really hard to get that wave with your tongue pressure. So that's where you're going to put pressure on your diaphragm, release your diaphragm, put pressure on, and then release that pressure and drop your tongue down. Okay. You want to go out? Hold on, guys. Mama's not home, so he had to come in and hang out with me until I started making sound. Then he had enough. So
that's pretty good. My dogs howl.
Do they? You know, I've only heard him howl one time ever, and I don't even remember what it was for, but we were shocked when he did it. So, all right. Another prominent sound is the demanding mew. And in the demanding mew, remember, is a very, very short. Very short, very soft call. It's an exclamation point. And the demanding mew is one of those ones that can follow up any of the other previous sounds to give a little more emotion to it. Primarily, it's used a lot when they'll string a bunch together. So, and in fact, I have a video for you guys tonight that is going to show you exactly what I modeled this off of. All right, share sound. Share. All right. So when this is kind of playing, what I want you guys to do is I want you to listen to the sounds. I want you to listen for the lost mews, the assembly mews, the regathering mews, the buzz mew, and the demanding mews. But I also want you to watch her demeanor and watch how she moves around, because this is what you're going to want to do when you're doing this routine. You want movement in your routine. Can you guys hear that okay? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. A cow that bugled. Demanding. Demanding. Okay, do you notice by her demeanor how she's looking around? She's searching. Okay. So That's also the other thing I love about this video is it really shows the vocal difference between mouth open and mouth closed. So it's a great representation also to show you how to string a lot of those sounds together. Did you guys pick up on her urgency and how she's pacing and kind of looking around a little bit? So if you keep that in mind, my two boys are trying to make those sounds. Awesome. So, but if you notice how she's moving around and looking, and she's throwing those sounds in different directions to broadcast out. And that's really what you want to do when you're doing this. You basically pick a swath, and you kind of just, you're almost pacing back and forth. And I mean, that video wasn't that long, but that's one of those things that you can sit there and you can pace to one side doing that pause and then take your time pacing back. But notice as she was walking, she was still throwing a lot of those demanding mews out there. Oh, hold on, guys. I was like, what the heck is going on? For some reason, it just started playing the next video. Okay, there we go. We got this stuff figured out. So yeah, the inviting cow routine, this is something that I kind of, started doing 6-7 years ago. I started doing it as an early season tactic when, bulls really aren't that vocal. And I found that we got a lot of call-ins on this. 98% of those were silent. And so the one thing that I really learned on this is you really, really need to be paying attention to what's going on around you when doing this. And hard part is sometimes when you're kind of doing this, especially if you're, 10, 15, 20 minutes in, you kind of start getting lackadaisical. You kind of start getting in a rut, and you're just kind of going through the motions. And you're not paying attention. And all of a sudden, before, instead of scanning before you move, you just start walking. And all of a sudden you hear something running off, and you just look up in time to see a tan rump going away. Guilty a few times. So it's one of those things. So when you are moving, it's best to make sounds, really listen, really scan, and then move. And then you can do some of those, demanding mews as you're running and moving. So Sandy, I'll do this sometimes for an hour. So if I'm in a spot where there's a lot of fresh sign, I'll do this as a blind calling routine for an hour in that location. The time frame on it is one of those things that I played with for quite a while. 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And it always seemed that as soon as I got up and started moving, I bumped something or ran into something that was coming in silent. So hours about the max distance or max time that I'll do it. If nothing's come in an hour, I'm going to go ahead and relocate, follow that fresh sign down a little bit more, change kind of the surrounding a little bit, and then set up and do it again. And, while you're moving to the next set, you can throw out a few of those demanding mews, some of those lost mews, some of the buzz mews kind of as you're moving along. Just don't get carried away as you're moving, because you want to be able to hear responses, twig snapping, anything like that coming to you. So, you guys have any questions so far on this routine? Nope. Larry, you always got questions. No? Oh, see that? We even got the examples of sounds out of the way early too, so I don't have to get my chops busted on that one neither tonight. So it's a good night. So now hold on. Ooh, that's why he couldn't talk. He was typing for a while here. Mew, basic mew, focus on diaphragm, emphasis on high note, string bunch of mews together. Assembly mew, focus on low, 90% of the time with mouth partially closed to soften it up. Open up mouth and add volume thereafter. Regathering mew, asking to elk join you, controlled with diaphragm, tongue drop down, demanding mew, very short, soft call, exclamation point. Can follow up any of the other. Video shows difference in mouth open, pacing back and forth. There we go. We got Larry taking notes here on this. He's getting everything into written text there. So, and actually the first one, Larry, was the emphasis on the high note was the lost mew. So, which everything's built off the basic mew. So, but no, so, you know, I kind of started doing this routine early in the season. I still will sometimes early in the season. I always default to the breeding sequence just because the breeding sequence has worked so much for me. And maybe on the next Q&A, we'll really dissect and break down the breeding sequence and all of the elements on that. In fact, wait, no, we did that. So, because we showed the video from Arizona. So, but what I will do now is midday, the inviting cow routine has been really, really effective for us midday, especially when we're, you know, stationed up fairly close to a bedding area with the thermals in our favor. And we know the elk have gotten up and moved around. Maybe we can kind of, you know, see them at a distance, or we just know based on, you know, what time they bedded down, 3.5, 4 hours, their contents in their stomach are empty and they're going to get up and start moving. Then we start, you know, breaking this into that midday routine. During the midday, Sandy, I'll do it for an hour and a half. So, but mornings hour, just because in the morning I'm still on the move quite a bit. Middle of the day, we're pretty much stationed where we're going to be until they get up in the evening. So I don't have a problem extending it out a little bit longer. Also, too, because it could be that my time was off on thinking their stomach contents, you know, when I thought they went to bed. They may have still been up on their feet just a little bit longer. So I'm going to give that routine just a little bit extra time because we're there, got nowhere to go. We're pretty much just staging and waiting for them to get up in the evening and head to their feeding area. Now, the other thing that you can do is some of those parts where, you know, she got a lot of volume with the mouth open. That's where the game changer or projecting, you know, through a grunt tube really is effective because you can stay nice and relaxed on your diaphragm read. You don't have to put a lot of stress on it, but it can give you the volume and the emphasis that you need to really convey that emotion and a little bit more importance of, you know, hey, this is legit. You know, I really, really need somebody to answer me. I'm really getting panicky. I'm getting worried, and that's where that extra emotion kind of comes into it. So you can also, you know, use your hand to throw your sound away in different avenues. So, but biggest things to take away: movement and throwing your sounds different directions, because you're basically scanning, you're searching for other elk. Now, I will warn you that this routine sometimes, actually quite often, calls in the one elk that we really don't want to deal with. And that's those pesky little calves that just, they will just come trotting in, making that sound nonstop. Because you know what, they're excited they found a friend that's alone, and man, they are just going to show you the way home. And they typically tend to come in and stay for a very long time. So it's neat to watch them. But the nice thing is too with calves, because they are so rambunctious, if they kind of go trotting and flopping back to the herd, it's okay. You can actually follow up with, you know, some elk sounds. And so it just gives the appearance that they came over playing and now they're trotting back to the rest of the group or whatever. And you don't really have to worry about them taking out the rest of the herd. So, all right. Any questions?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Watching that video, there's a big difference in between just using the reed in your mouth and using the tube, because that elk, she was loud. I mean,
Yeah.
like really emotionally loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was parts where she really, and saw how she strung quite a few of those lost, those lost mews together, strung some of the buzz mews together. Really the regathering mews. So really strung those. And if you go back and watch that, it's on Row Hunting Resources page. It's like cow bugling, barks and more, or something like that. But you can see how she strings a bunch of those together, and then she'll either close her mouth and do the demanding mew immediately, or she has a little bit of pause to catch her breath, and then she does the demanding mew really soft again. So, because you can see on a few of those, when she strung them together, she used every bit of air that she had in her lungs. Can you link that video? Yeah, absolutely. What I'll do is when I post the replay, Sandy, I'll post the link to that video in there also. So down in the description. So, all right. New call that's hitting the market. I don't know if you guys have heard or seen, but Phelps Game Calls has a new cow call that's hitting the market a week from today on July 13th.
I saw it.
It's called the Easy Sucker.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different because you suck in on this call. You don't blow out.
It sounded really good too.
Oh, it's got phenomenal sound to it. But here's a few things that is really cool about this call. And I've got a few ordered that as soon as they flip the switch that are on their way to play with. But so one, sucking in instead of blowing out. What that's going to mean is blowing out, you don't have any hot air or any moisture going over that reed, which means it will not stick. The other thing is it's a false tongue that's made out of silicone that is actually inside that call is an actual amp diaphragm. So you could basically pull the tape off your favorite amp diaphragm and put it in that. You can change out the reeds. You can give it any sound that you want. So it has adjustability, not going to freeze up. And also the really cool thing, you can stick it in the corner of your mouth and you can be hands-free with it. So when I'm panting, it will call for me. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when you're panting, you're sucking in wind anyways. So, but yeah, really excited to, I've been kind of listening to sound files on this thing for about 2 weeks now. And I am really, really impressed with the diversity, the control, hands-free. I really, really think it's going to be a game changer. In fact, I was shooting last night with a couple of the hunting partners and I was telling them that, got those coming in. Of course, Bryce is like, yeah, I don't know if I'll use it. I'm like, yeah, you will. So Phelps Game Calls, PHELPS. Yes. Yep. You got it. So, but yeah, I think it's really going to be a game changer for a lot of people. But I mean, the flexibility that you can do with that. So, and for a lot of people that can't use diaphragm reeds, the handheld or the being hands-free option, being able to make a sound to stop an elk in the shooting lane is just going to be invaluable. So hopefully when we come back in 2 weeks, they'll be here and can kind of do some demonstrating and playing with that. So, all right. So there's the announcement for tonight. All right. So that's pretty much dissecting the inviting cow routine. It's basically it's a lost cow that is searching, but remember, all the sounds in it are inviting an action or a response. That's the important thing. Now, if you do happen to mix in a normal mew in there on accident, don't worry about it. It's okay. You're going to be heavy on those inviting type sounds. And that's really what you want to focus on that routine, along with the movement and the emotion. Now, one last thing to expand on that with the emotion, you don't want to come out of the gate full tilt. So that video, she had been kind of, so that video was actually shot in June. And that's another example of that buzz mew where they don't just do that buzz mew during September. It is a sound that they do all year long and has different meanings other than just being in the rut. No, Sandy, I have not. We actually had some things pop up that Liz and I have been tied up with for about 10 days now. So I have not had a chance to do that. I need to. So, because it's hanging in the closet right there. It's taking up room. So, so what's that?
I thought I was high.
Yeah. No, you guys didn't miss it. I didn't put it in other rooms so y'all wouldn't see it. I promise you will have a chance at it too. Larry, what they're talking about is I'm raffling off a brand new 2020 Prime Inline 5 that has a Limb Driver Gen 7X rest on it. It's going to be 100 slots in the raffle. It's $20 per slot, and you can choose your number. If that number is taken, you will have the opportunity to choose another number, obviously. So, all right, guys, what else you got?
I've got a question.
Okay.
So if you're doing the inviting cow call like that, can you change the read up and do like an open read on it too?
Oh yeah.
Sound?
Yeah, no, you can. So that's the nice thing about the inviting cow routine is you can do it on a diaphragm only. You can do it on an open read cow call only.
Either like switch them up.
Yeah, you can mix them up. If
one around my neck, so
yeah, if there's certain sounds that you want to do on that open read, and in fact, the open read is really going to have a lot more volume than what the diaphragm is, so you can actually get a lot more emotion on that diaphragm or the open read and get that volume out there, that you want. And you can absolutely start soft with the diaphragm read and then transition, start mixing in that open read for some of the sounds and then transition fully to that open read to get that volume that you want. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
All right. Anything else, fellas? Well, then I guess we're going to wrap it up for tonight. So appreciate you guys tuning in. And as always, keep calling, keep practicing. More importantly, though, have fun. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks on the next live Q&A. And I have no idea what I'm going to talk about on that night. I'll figure it out between here and there.
Thanks a lot, program.
You bet. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
See ya. Bye-bye.